Hey guys, I'm back. Today I'm going to read Numbers 10 to 16, Proverbs 4, and Psalm 131. Let's get started. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Make 2 silver trumpets. Of hammered work you shall make them, and you shall use them for summoning the congregation and for breaking camp. And when both are blown, all the congregation shall gather themselves here at the entrance of the tent meeting. However, if they blow only once, then the chiefs, the heads of the tribes of Israel, shall gather themselves to you. When you blow an alarm, the camps that are on the east side shall set out, and when you blow on an alarm the second time, the camps that are on the south side shall set out. Then an alarm is to be blown where they are to set out. And when the assembly is to be gathered together, you shall blow a long blast, but you shall not sound an alarm. And the sons of Aaron the priest shall blow the trumpets. The trumpets shall be to you for a perpetual statute throughout your generations. Then you go to warn your land against the adversary who oppresses you, and you shall sound an alarm with the trumpets, that you may be remembered before the Lord your God, and shall be saved from your enemies. On the day of your gladness, O stand at your appointed feast, at the beginning of your months, you shall blow the trumpets over your burnt offerings, and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings. You shall be a reminder of you before your God, and the Lord your God. In the second year, in the second month, on the 20th day of the month, the cloud lifted from over the tabernacle of the testimony, and the people of Israel set out by stages from the wilderness of Sinai. And the cloud settled down in the wilderness of Paran. They set out for the first time at the command of the Lord by Moses. The standard of the camp of the people of Judah set out first by their companies, and over their company was Nashon the son of Aminadab. And over the company of the tribe of the people of Isaac was Nathaniel the son of Zuar. And over the company of the tribe of the people of Zebulun was Eliab the son of Helon. And the tabernacle was taken down, the sons of Gershon and the sons of Merari who carried the tabernacle set out. And the standard of the camp of Reuben set out by their companies. And over their company was Eliezer the son of Shador. And over the company of the tribe of the people of Simeon was Shelumiel the son of Zerishaddah. And over the company of the tribe of the people was Eliasaph the son of Deuel. And the Kohathites set out carrying the holy things. And the tabernacle was set out before their arrival. And they could stand out of the camp of the people of Ephraim, set out by their companies. And over their company was Elishama the son of Ammihud. And over the company of the tribe of the people of Manasseh was Gamaliel the son of Pedazur. And over the company of the tribe of the people of Benjamin was Abidan the son of Gideoni. And the standard of the camp of the people of Dan, acting as the rear guard of all the camps, set out by their companies. And over their company was Ahiezer the son of Amishad. And over the company of the tribe of the people of Asher was Pagiel the son of Ochran. And over the company of the tribe of the people of Naphtali was Ahira the son of Enan. This was the order of march of the people which are by their companies, and they set out. And Moses said to Hobab the son of Ruel the Midianite, Moses' father-in-law, We are setting out for the place at which the Lord said, I will give it to you. Come with us, and we will do good for you. And the Lord promised good to Israel. And he said to him, I will not go, I will depart to my own land, to my kindred. And he said, Please do not leave us, for you know where we should camp in the wilderness, and you will serve as eyes for us. And if you do not go with us, whatever good the Lord will do to us, the same we will do to you. So they set up from the mountain of the Lord 3 days' journey, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord went before them 3 days' journey, to seek out a resting place for them. And the cloud of the Lord was over them by day, whenever they set out from the camp, and whenever the ark set out, Moses said, Arise, O Lord, and let your enemies be scattered. Let those who hate you flee before you, and arrest you. He said, Return, O Lord, to the 10,000 thousands of Israel. And the people complained in the hearing of the Lord about their misfortunes. And when the Lord heard it, his anger was kindled. And the fire of the Lord burned among them and consumed some outlying parts of the camp. And the people cried out to Moses, and Moses prayed to the Lord, and the fire died down. So the name of that place was called Tabor, because the fire of the Lord burned among them. And now the rabble that was among them had a strong craving. And the people of Israel also wept again and said, Oh, that we had meat to eat. You remember the fish we ate in Egypt that cost nothing, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. And now strength is dried up, and there's nothing at all but this manna to look at. Now the manna was like coriander seed, and its appearance was like that of bdellium. And the people went out and gathered it and ground it, and hammered mills or beat in mortars, and boiled it in pots and made cakes of it. And the taste of it was like the taste of cakes baked with oil. And when the dew fell upon the camp in the night, the manna fell with it. When Moses had the people weeping throughout their clans, everyone at the door of his tent, and the anger of the Lord blazed hotly, and Moses was displeased. And Moses said to the Lord, Why have you dealt well with your servant? And why have now I not found favor in your sight, that you lay the burden of all the people on me? Did I conceive all these people? Did I give them birth that you should save me? Carry them in your bosom as a nurse carries a nursing child to the land that you swore to give their fathers. Where am I to get meat to give to all those people? Will they weep before me and say, give us meat, that we may eat? I am not able to carry all those people alone. This burden is like it is too heavy for me. If you will treat me like this, kill me at once. If I find favor in your sight, that I may not see my righteousness. And the Lord said to Moses, gather for me 70 men of the elders of Israel. He may know to be the elders of the people, and officers over them, and bring them down and talk with you there. And I'll take some of the spirit that is on you and put it on them, and they shall bear the burden of the people with you, so that you may not bear it yourself alone. And say to the people, consecrate yourselves for tomorrow, and you shall eat meat, for you have wept in the hearing of the Lord, saying, you will give us meat to eat, but you shall not eat just 1 day, or 2 days, or 5 days, or 10 days, or 20 days, but a whole month, until it comes out of your nostrils and becomes loathsome to you. Because you rejected the Lord who was among you, and have wept before him, saying, why did we come out of Egypt? And Moses said, and the people among whom I am number 600,000 on foot. And he said, I will give them meat, that they may eat a whole month. Shall flocks and herds be slaughtered for them, and be enough for them? Or shall all the fish of the sea be gathered together for them, and be enough for them? And the Lord said to Moses, the Lord's hand shall know, and he shall see whether my word will come true for you or not. So Moses went out and told the people, and with the words of the Lord, and he gathered 70 men of the elders, other people, and placed them around the tent. And the Lord came down on the cloud and spoke to him, and took some of the spirit that was on him and put it in the 70 elders. And as soon as the spirit rested on them, they prophesied, but they did not continue doing it. And 2 men remained in the camp, one named Elder, and the other named Medad. And then the spirit rested on them. They were among those registered, but they had not gone out to it. And so they prophesied in the camp. A young man ran and told Moses, Eldad and Medad are prophesying in the camp. And Joshua the son of Nun, the assistant of Moses from his youth, said, my Lord Moses, stop them. And Moses said to him, I, Joshua, my son, that all that Moses to the Lord's people were prophets, that the Lord would put his spirit on them. And Moses and the elders of Israel returned to the camp. Then a wind from the Lord sprang up, and it broke away from the sea and let them fall beside the camp. About a day's journey on this side and a day's journey on the other side, around the camp, about 2 cubits above the ground. And the people rose all that day and all night, and all the next day, and gathered the quail. Those who gathered at least gathered 10 homers, and they spread them out for themselves all around the camp. All the meat was yet between their teeth, and before it was consumed, the anger of the Lord was kindled against the people. And the Lord struck down the people with a very great plague. Therefore the name of that place was called Kibroth-Hattaavah, because there they burned the people who had the craving. From Kibroth-Hattaavah the people journeyed to Hazeroth, and there they remained at Hazeroth. Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses because of the Cushite woman whom he had married, for he had married a Cushite woman. And they said, has the Lord indeed spoken only through Moses? Has he also spoken through us also? And the Lord heard it. Now the man Moses was very meek, and more than all the people who were on the face of the earth. Suddenly the Lord spoke to Moses, and Moses said to Aaron and to Miriam, come out, you 3, to the tent of meeting. And 3 of them came out, and the Lord came down in a pillar of fire, and stood at the edges of the tent, and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. And he said, hear my words, that there is a prophet among you. I, the Lord, make myself known to him. In a vision I speak with him, in a dream. Not so with my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. With him I speak mouth to mouth, clearly, and not in riddles. And he beholds the form of the Lord. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? And the anger of the Lord was kindled against him, and he departed. And the cloud removed from over the tent. Behold, Miriam was leprous like snow. And Aaron turned toward Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. And Aaron said to Moses, O my Lord, do not punish us, because we have done foolishly and have sinned. Let our hand not be as one day, whose flesh is half eaten away when he comes out of his mother's womb. And Moses cried to the Lord, O God, please heal her, please. But the Lord said to Moses, if her father had but spit in her face, should she not be shamed 7 days? And let be shut outside the camp 7 days. And after that she may be brought in again. So Miriam was shut outside the camp 7 days. And the people did not set out on the march till Miriam was brought in again. And after that, the people set out from Hazeroth and camped in the wilderness of Paran. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the people of Israel. From each tribe of their father, you shall send them men, every one a chief among them. So Moses sent them from the wilderness of Paran according to the commandments of the Lord. From all these men who were heads of the people of Israel. And these were their names: from the tribe of Reuben, Shemuel the son of Zaccur, The tribe of Simeon, Shaphat the son of Hori. From the tribe of Judah, Caleb the son of Jephunneh. From the tribe of Isaac, Igor the son of Joseph. From the tribe of Ephraim, Hoshea the son of Nun. From the tribe of Benjamin, Palti the son of Raphi. From the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel the son of Sodi. From the tribe of Joseph, and Gadi the son of Susi. From the tribe of Dan, Amiel the son of Gamaliel. From the tribe of Asher, Sethah the son of Michael. From the tribe of Naphtali, Nahbi the son of Vophsi. From the tribe of Gad, Gio the son of Maki. These were the names of the men who Moses sent to spy out the land. And Moses called Hoshea the son of Nun Joshua. And Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan and said to them, go up into the Negev and go up into the hill country and see what the land is, and whether the people who dwell in it are strong or weak, and if they are few or many, and whether the land that they dwell in is good or bad, and whether the cities that they dwell in are camps or strongholds, and whether the land is rich or poor, and whether there are trees in it or not. Be of good courage and bring some of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the season of the first ripe grapes. So they went up and spied out the land from the wilderness of Zin to Rehob, near Lebo Hamath. They went up into the Negev and came to Hebron, Ahim and Shishai and Talmai, the descendants of Anak with it. And they came to the valley of Eshcol, and cut down from there a branch with a single cluster of grapes, and they carried it on a pole between two of them. They also brought some pomegranates and figs. Now the place is called the valley of Eshcol, and this is the cluster that the people of Israel cast down from there. And at the end of 40 days they returned from spying out the land, and they came to Moses and Aaron and to all the congregation of the people of Israel in the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh. And they brought back word to and told the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And they told them, we came to a land to which you sent us, it flows with milk and honey. And this is its fruit. However, the people who dwell in the land are strong, and the cities are fortified and very large. And besides, we saw the descendants of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the Negev, the Hittites, the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the hill country. And the Canaanites dwell by the sea and along the Jordan. And Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and occupy it. We are well able to overcome it. And the men who had gone up with him said, we are not able to go up against the people, but they are stronger than we are. So they brought to the people of Israel a bad report of the land. And they spied out, saying, the land, although we are going to spy it out, is a land that devours its inhabitants, and all people that we saw now have great height. And there we saw them and fell, and we seemed to ourselves like grasshoppers, and so we seemed to. And all the congregation raised a loud cry, and the people wept that night. And all the people of Israel grumbled against Moses and Aaron. The whole congregation said to them, would that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would that we had died in this wilderness. Why is the Lord bringing us into this land to fall by the sword? All our wives and our little ones will become a prey. Would it not be better for us to go back to Egypt? And they said to one another, let us choose a leader and go back to Egypt. And then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the people of Israel. And Joshua the son of Nun, and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, who were among those who spied out the land, tore their clothes and said to all the congregation of the people of Israel, the land which we passed through to spy out is an exceedingly good land. If the Lord delights in us, he'll bring us into this land and give it to us, the land that flows with milk and honey. Only do not rebel against the Lord, and do not fear the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their protection is removed from me, and the Lord's with us. Do not fear them. And all the congregation said to stone them with stones. And the glory of the Lord appeared at the tent of meeting to all the people of Israel. And the Lord said to Moses, and how long will these people despise me? And how long will they not believe me, in spite of all the signs that I have done among them? I will strike them with the pestilence and disinherit them. And I will make of you a nation greater and mightier than they. And Moses said to the people, and the Egyptians will hear it, for you brought up this people, and your might among them. And they will tell the inhabitants of this land, they have heard from you, O Lord, are in the midst of this people. For you, O Lord, I see face to face. And your cloud stands over them, and you go before them. And a pillar of cloud by day, and a pillar of fire by night. Now, if you kill the people out as one man, the nations shall have heard your fame will say, it is because the Lord was not able to bring these people into the land that he swore to give to them, that he has killed them in the wilderness. And now please the power of the Lord and great as you promised, saying, the Lord is slow to anger and abandoning his steadfast love, forgiving iniquity and transgression. And he will by no means clearly guilty, and take the iniquity of the fathers on the children, to the third and fourth generation. Please pardon the iniquity of this people, according to the generations, according to the greatness of his steadfast love, just as you have forgiven this people from Egypt until now. And the Lord has said, I have pardoned according to your word, but truly as I live, and as all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. All the men who have seen my glory and my signs, and I didn't eat it in the wilderness, and yet put me to the test these 10 times, and have not obeyed my voice, shall see the land that I swore to you to their father. And now that she despised me shall see it, and my servant Caleb, because he has a different spirit, and his soul be truly, fully. I will bring it to a land into which he went, and his descendants shall possess it. And his descendants shall possess it. Now since the Amalekites and the Canaanites on the valley sent to and set out for the wilderness by way to the Red Sea, and the Lord spake to Moses and Aaron, saying, How long shall this wicked congregation grumble against me? I have heard the grumblings of the people of Israel. They say grumble against me. Say to them, As I live, declares the Lord, what you said in my hearing I'll do to you. Your dead body shall fall in the wilderness, and of all your number. Listen in the census from 20 years old and upward. You have grumbled against me. Not one shall come into the land. And I swore that I would make you dwell. He said, Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun, and your little ones who you said would become prey. I will bring you, and they shall know the land that you have rejected. And as for you, your dead body shall fall in this wilderness, and your children shall be shepherds in the wilderness 40 years, and shall suffer for your faithlessness, until the last of your dead bodies lies in the wilderness. And according to the number of days in which you spread out the land, 40 days a year for each day. You shall bear your iniquity 40 years, and you shall know my displeasure. And I, the Lord, have spoken. Surely this I will do to all the wicked congregation who are gathered together against me. In this wilderness they shall come to a full end, and there they shall die. And the man whom I sent to smite the land, he returned and made all the congregation grumble against it. I bring up a bad report about the land. The man who brought up a bad report of the land died by plague before the Lord. Of those men who went out to spite the land, only Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh remained alive. And Moses told these words to all the people of Israel, and people mourned greatly. And they rose early in the morning and went out to the heights of the hill country, saying, Here we are, we'll go up to the place that the Lord has promised. Where you have sinned. But Moses said, Why are you now transgressing the command of the Lord, when that will not succeed? Don't go, for the Lord is not among you, unless you be struck down before your enemies. For there the Amalekites and Canaanites are facing you, and you shall fall by the sword. And as you turn back from following the Lord, and the Lord will not be with you, and they presume to go up to the heights of the hill country. Although neither the ark of the covenant of the Lord nor Moses departed out of the camp. And the Amalekites and the Canaanites who lived in the hill country came down and defeated them, and pursued them even to Hormah. The Lord spake to Moses, saying, Speak to the people of Israel, and say to them, When you come into the land you are to inhabit, which I am giving you, and you offer to the Lord from the head or from the flock, food offering, or a burnt offering, or a sacrifice, to fulfill a vow or free will offering, or at your appointed feast, to make a pleasing aroma to the Lord. And he who brings his offering shall offer to the Lord a grain offering of a tenth of an ephah of fine flour, mixed with a quarter of a hin of oil. And he shall offer with the burnt offering, or for the sacrifice, a quarter of a hin of wine for the drink offering for each lamb. Before a ram he shall offer for a grain offering 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour, mixed with a third of a hin of oil. And the drink offerings you shall offer as a third of a hin of wine, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. And then you offer a bull as a burnt offering or sacrifice. To fulfill vow for peace offerings to the Lord. And what shall offer was the bull grain offering of 3/10 of an ephah of fine flour, mixed with half a hin of oil. And you shall offer for the drink offering half a hin of wine, as a food offering, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. Thus it shall be done for each bull or ram, or for each lamb or younger. As many as you offer, so shall you do with each one. As many as there are, every native Israelite shall do these things in this way, in offering a food offering, with a pleasing aroma to the Lord. And there are strangers sojourning with you, or if anyone is living permanently among you, and he wishes to offer a food offering with a pleasing aroma to the Lord, you shall do as you do. With the assembly there shall be one statute for you, and for the stranger who sojourns with you, a statute forever throughout your generations. You and their sojourner shall be alike before the Lord. One law and one rule shall be for you, and for the stranger who sojourns with you. And the Lord spake to Moses, saying, Speak to the people of Israel, and say to them, When you come to the land to which I will bring you, and when you eat of the bread of the land, you shall present a contribution before to the Lord. Of the first of your day you shall present as of life as a contribution, like a contribution from the threshing floor. So shall you present it. Some of the first of your day you shall give to the Lord as a contribution throughout your generations. If you sin unintentionally, and do observe all the commandments that the Lord has spoken to Moses, and all that the Lord has commanded you by Moses, the day that the Lord gave commandment, and almost throughout your generation, and then if it was done unintentionally, without the knowledge of the congregation, one of the congregation shall offer one bull from the herd for a burnt offering, and place an aroma to the Lord, with a grain offering and a string offering, according to the law, and one male goat for a sin offering. And the priest shall make atonement for all the congregation, the people of Israel, and they shall be forgiven, because it was a mistake, and they brought their offering, a free offering to the Lord, and this sin offering before the Lord for their mistake, and all the congregation of the people of Israel shall be forgiven, and the stranger who sojourns among them, because the whole population was involved in the mistake. If one person sins unintentionally, he shall offer a female goat a year old for a sin offering, and the priest shall make atonement before the Lord, and for the house who makes a mistake. When he sins unintentionally, to make atonement for it, and he shall be forgiven. You shall have one law for him who does anything unintentional, for him who is native among the people of Israel, and for the stranger who sojourns among them. But the person who does anything with the high hand, whether he is a native or a sojourner, reveals the law, and that person shall be cut off among his people, because he has despised the word of the law, and has broken his commandment. That person shall be utterly cut off, his iniquity shall be upon him. Now the people of Israel were in the wilderness. They found a man gathering sticks on the Sabbath day, and those who found him gathering sticks brought him to Moses and Aaron and all the congregation. They put him in custody, because it had not been made clear that what should be done to him. And the Lord said to Moses, the man shall be put to death. And all the congregation shall stone him with stones outside the camp. And all the congregation brought him outside the camp, and stoned him to death with stones, as the Lord commanded Moses. And the Lord said to Moses, speak to the people of Israel and tell them to make tassels on the corners of their garments throughout their generations, and to put a cord of blue on the tassel of each corner. There shall be a tassel for you to look at and remember all the commandments of the Lord, to do them, not to follow after your own heart and your own eyes, and you are inclined to whore after. So you shall remember and do all my commands, and be holy to your God. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of the Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God. Now Korah the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and on the son of Peleth, and the sons of Reuben took men, and they rose up before Moses with a number of the people, 250 chiefs of the congregation, chosen from the assembly, and well-known men. They assembled themselves together against Moses and Aaron, and said, you have gone too far, for all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Why then do you exalt yourselves above the assembly of the Lord? And Moses heard, he fell down on his face. He fell on his face, and he said to Korah and all this company, in the morning the Lord will show who is his, and who is holy, and bring him near to him. The one whom he chooses he will bring near to. Do this, take census, Korah and all his company, with fire in them, and put incense before the Lord tomorrow, and the man whom the Lord chooses shall be the holy one. You have gone too far, sons of Levi. And Moses said to Korah, hear now, you sons of Levi, is it too small a thing for you that the God of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel, to bring you near to himself, to do service in the tabernacle of the Lord, and to stand before the congregation, to minister to them, that he has brought you near, and all your brothers, the sons of Levi, with him. And would you seek the priesthood also? Therefore it is against the Lord that you and all your company now gather together. What is Aaron, that you grumble against him? And Moses sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and they said, we will not come up, for it is a small thing that you have brought us up out of the land, flowing with milk and honey, and to kill us in the wilderness, and that you must also make yourself a prince over us, wherever you have not brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey, nor given us inheritance of fields and vineyards. May you put out the eyes of these men, who will not come up. And Moses was very angry, and said to the Lord, do not respect their offering. I have not taken one donkey from them, and I have not harmed one of them. And Moses said to Korah, be present, you and all your company, before the Lord, you and they, and Aaron 12, and let every one of you take a censer and put incense on it, and every one of you bring before the Lord his censer, 250 censers, you also and Aaron each his censer. So every man took a censer and put fire in them, and laid incense on them, and stood at the entrance of the tent meeting with Moses and Aaron. And Korah assembled the congregation against them at the entrance of the tent of meeting. And the glory of the Lord appeared to all the congregation. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them among you. And they found their faces and said, with God, the God of spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, and will you be angry with this congregation, with all the congregation? And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, say to the congregation, get away from the dwelling of Korah, at Dathan and Abiram. And Moses rose and went to Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he said to the congregation, saying, depart, please, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, and yes, you be swept away with all their sins. So they got away from the dwelling of Korah, Dathan and Abiram. And Dathan and Abiram came out and stood at the door of their tent, together with the wives, their sons, and their little ones. Moses said, Hereby you shall know that the Lord has sent me to do all these works, and that it is nothing of my own accord. If these men die, all men die, or if they are visited by the fate of all mankind, and the Lord has not sent me, if the Lord creates something new, and the ground opens its mouth and swallows them up, all that belongs to them, and they go down alive into Sheol, then you shall know that these men have despised the Lord. As soon as he had finished speaking all these words, the ground under them split apart, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up, with their households and all the people who belonged to Korah and all their goods. So they and all that belonged to them went down alive into Sheol, and the earth closed over them, and they perished from the midst of the assembly. And all Israel who were around them fled at their cry, for they said, Lest the earth swallow us up. And the fire came out from the Lord, and he consumed the 250 men offering the incense. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Tell Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest to take up the censers out of the blaze, and scatter the fire far away, for they have become holy, as will the censers of these men, who sin at the cost of their lives. Let them be made into hammer plates as a covering for the altar, when they offer them before the Lord, and they became holy. Thus they shall be assigned to the people of Israel. So Eleazar the priest took the bronze censers, which those who were burned had offered, and they were hammered out as a covering for the altar, to be a reminder to the people of Israel, so that no outsider. It was not of the descendants of Aaron who draw near to burn incense before the Lord, lest he become like Korah and his company. As the Lord said to him through Moses. Now on the next day all the congregation of the people of Israel grumbled against Moses and saying, You have killed the people of the Lord. And when the congregation had assembled against Moses and against Aaron, they turned toward the tent meeting, and behold, the cloud covered it, and the glory of the Lord appeared. And Moses and Aaron came to the front of the tent meeting, and the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Get away from the midst of this congregation, so I may consume them in a moment. And they fell on their faces, and Moses said to Aaron, Take your censer, and put fire on it from off the altar, and lay incense on it, and carry it quickly to the congregation, and make atonement for them. For wrath has gone out from the Lord, and the plague has begun. So Aaron took it as Moses said, and ran into the midst of the assembly. And behold, the plague had already begun among the people. And he put on the incense and made atonement for the people. And he stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stopped. Now those who died in the plague were 14,700, besides those who died in the affair of Korah. And Aaron returned to Moses at the entrance of the tent meeting, when the plague was stopped. Proverbs 4. Hear, sons, the father's instruction, be attentive, that he may gain insight. For I give you good precepts, do not forsake my teaching. When I was a son with my father, tended the only one in the sight of my mother, he told me and said to me, Let your heart hold fast my words, keep my commandments, and live. Get wisdom, get insight, do not forget, and do not turn away from the words of my mouth. Do not forsake it, and she will keep you. Love, and she will guard you. The beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom. Whatever you get insight. Rise her highly, and she will exalt you, and she will honor you if you embrace her. She will place on your head a graceful garland, and she will bestow on you a beautiful crown. Hear, my son, and accept my words. The years of your life may be many. I have taught you the way of wisdom, and I have led you in the path of uprightness. When you walk, your step will not be hampered, and if you run, you will not stumble. Keep hold of instruction, and do not let go. God, if she is your life, do not enter the path of the wicked, and do not walk in the way of evil. Go avoid it, do not go on it. Stay away from man passing, for they cannot sleep unless they have done well. They rob to sleep unless they have made someone stumble. While they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. For the path of the righteous is like the light of dawn, which shines bright and bright until full day. The way of the wicked is like deep darkness, they do not know what they stumble. My son, be attentive to my words, incline your ear to my sayings. Let them not escape from your sight, keep them within your heart. For they are life to those who find them, healing to all their flesh. Keep your heart with all vigilance, for from it flow the springs of life. Put away from you crooked speech, and put devious talk far from you. Let your eyes look directly forward, and your gaze be straight before you. Order the path of your feet, then all your ways will be sure. Do not swerve to the right or to the left. Turn your foot away from evil. Psalm 131. O Lord, my heart is not lifted up, my eyes are not raised high, and do not occupy myself with you. Too great and too marvelous for me. I have calmed and quieted myself like a weaned child with his mother. Like a weaned child is my soul within me. O Israel, hope in the Lord from this time forth forevermore. Now the Son, and should now to the Lord's prayer. Placed by your heads, our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us the debts this year, so forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.